Well, we have approved the minutes in our approval of the consent agenda, so we don't need to go back to that. You want to give us some background on our banking recommendations?
I would. We'll kind of tag team this here with Carla and entertain any questions, but just as a point of reference, so we submitted the request for proposal for the college's comprehensive banking services back on January 27th, with proposals due a month later on February 28th. Within that time frame, we did receive complete bids from 5 banking institutions here locally: Landmark, Equity, KCB, Commerce Bank, and Dream First. So through the process and through the RFP, we were very transparent as far as the criteria that would be utilized in the evaluation and leading into the recommendation that you have before you tonight. But as a point of reference on the criteria, the criteria that we took a look at were operational requirements, experience, resources, and qualifications of the financial institution and individuals who would be assigned to this account, quality and responsiveness of customer service, financial strength of the institution and the financial controls, and then transition and fees. And so through this, it was an extremely comprehensive process, and I want to thank Carla there just for the oversight and the work that went into us there, because when you have 5 banks, all 5 banks have 5 differences in how it is that they assess fees and how they are responding to the RFP. So it's not an apples to apples comparison that you get. And so that has led to why we had requested to be able to have an additional month to review and be able to really dissect these RFPs. So from this particular process, then really the things that started to kind of rise to the surface and separate institutions really came down to fees on accounts and services. But as a piece of what we were truly looking at within the criteria was local decision-making authority to be able to respond to and handle emergencies, customer service. And those aspects were items that helped in really trying to help distinguish and differentiate what the recommendation would be that would come before you tonight. So with this, our recommendation is to move to KCB Bank for banking services. As a part of this recommendation, through the conversations that Carla and I have had, we would be retaining our purchase cards, our employee purchase card services with Commerce Bank. So they will retain those services just based on the structure of fees and the transition of services overall. So all other services that we have would begin the process of transition upon board approval and board action tonight. Happy to entertain and answer any other questions it may be, but that's more of a summary of what the evaluative criteria were based on.
So I have a question on, I appreciate the recommendation. It's not my forte, but as we go forward with banking, will we still use our other banks for the CDs? And so that's 2 separate processes, I'm guessing, right? The CD
Correct.
assignments and
Right. So just for your information, when the CDs mature, we reach out to all of the local institutions or any institutions that have asked us to reach out to them just to get a rate based on the dollar investment and the time. We try to stagger the maturity of $4 million that we traditionally have invested. We also have kept a fair amount of liquid assets at Landmark because of the interest rate that they pay without us tying up those monies. So that's where all of our county monies are deposited. Our federal monies have to be in a zero interest bearing account. So that's why the difference of the two. And then all of our state monies are deposited into the Kansas Municipal Investment Pool. And that, when I put that information in the board packet, I update what the current rate is based on the end of the month. So depending on, so like we usually transfer over $1 million a month for payroll and obligations. And then also depending on what's coming down the pike, if we have debt service or whatever. But I always transfer the money from the investment pool first because it generally is paying the least, but it's still liquid, into currently Commerce. That's our operating account, which that's what we'll be moving.
All right, and the student cards or student accounts will be with Commerce or KCD?
They will be we don't have that product currently,
Okay,
but going forward, we will be establishing that with KCB.
okay,
Mhm. At no charge to the student.
okay.
Tell me how FDIC insurance plays. When you have money that you put it out on bid. Everybody gets an opportunity to bid on it. You
Mhm.
take what's best. If it's over the FDIC insurance, do they have to pledge securities behind that to keep that safe?
Yes,
Okay.
or in the last $1 million that we solicited, Dream First, for example, they did not pledge securities. Rather, they broke the total $1 million up, and we receive a statement of where they have invested that money. So it's actually, it's under Dream First. And so, but it is held in 5 different institutions. But Commerce, KCB, Landmark, yes, I get pledged security reports every month on that. And of course, the auditors are always looking to make sure that that's done correctly. So.
Any more questions? And I'd entertain a motion to approve KCB for the College Comprehensive Banking Services effective July 1, 2023.
I would second.
I would move that
Beth moves,
KCB
Bob seconded.
be appointed as our I lost it.
Comprehensive
Comprehensive
Banking Services.
I would second.
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
I,
Denied, second. Disapproved, vote no. No. Give those people who don't want to vote a chance to vote no, but we didn't have any. The motion was unanimous.
Again, I would just like to acknowledge the work that Carla put
I was gonna
into
say,
evaluating.
congratulations.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work.
You learn things when we do these. We sent out questions for them to respond to. I learned a new appreciation for page limits. When, like when we submit grants, there's a page limit, certain font, spacing. So I'm going to tell you that the amount of material that was submitted ranged from a Polka phone book to a Kansas City phone book, when we had phone books. So learned a lesson.
It's a good visual. Yeah.
For those of a certain age.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Any students may not appreciate that comparison.
Okay, for the next item, that's what did we call that? For the plumbing, and
We're gonna do B first.
you want to do E first? Okay, then we'll do E, extension of the president's contract. Do I hear a motion to extend it or not extend it?
All motion to extend Dr. Rita's contract for one more year, which will add one more year to the current contract for a total of a 3-year rolling contract.
I'll second that.
Have a motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Moving right along to the, what item was that?
F is
F.
West Hall Plumbing.
You got the.
Take it away.
You got the floor.
All right, I have asked Craig Lurch and Nate Zapata here as well. If there's technical questions, I'll just provide a summary, and then if there are technical questions, then I'm going to lean on them heavily there for those. But as the background information indicates, West Hall Plumbing, what we are requesting from the board is to be able to replace the domestic water supply lines in each of the restrooms within West Hall. These systems are original to the building, dating back to 1967. So as we are going through this, there were 2 bids received. There were 3 that had responded, 2 that provided bids, Central Consolidated and Tatro. The variation in the bids differs really for one primary factor and reason. West Hall is constructed from cinder block, and the variation really comes from the approach that each of the companies is going to take. So Central Consolidated is proposing to be able to do access holes and cut access holes into the cinder block and really limit the amount of masonry and work that would have to be done in order to be able to remove the plumbing and replace it with PEX lines. Tatro has proposed, and this is why their bid is more extensive, to be able to actually remove 1 to 2 rows of blocks and provide more room for working on the plumbing lines. Becomes a much more extensive project there that also requires structural engineers. So again, why the increased cost is associated with this particular bid. I will say that as we are going through this, one of the other items that we will be doing through the restrooms is really kind of a complete overhaul. Last summer, we did the showers and replaced the showers within West Hall. As part of this particular project, then we will also be replacing all toilets and then each of the sinks within West Hall there as well. So there will be a complete overhaul of each of the bathrooms there just to bring it up there and have a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. And then we will also redo the floors and paint within the bathrooms there as well. So this project and our recommendation is to be able to accept a bid from Central Consolidated for $173,993.15. And this will come from the auxiliary fund over in residential life, not the general fund. So I believe you have supporting information and RFP that were provided there as well, just so you have some some other additional information there for you there as well. Craig, Nate, anything else that?
Not really. We did have some concerns since the bids was so different when they came in. So Nathan and I reached out to both contractors, what they were doing, and even put a plan in place where we would try this on one bathroom first, see if they ran into any difficulty. And then decide if we continue on through immediately or fall back to kind of a stop loss position and reevaluate. It seems like a good opportunity.
So their plan is just to start with one, and if
Right.
if that's a fail, we have an out to,
I want to make sure, especially on the vent pipe, where it has to go through, that they can get the vent pipe.
But you have people on staff that are trained in this kind of thing that we're doing. It's not right. Well, and I know we have a young lady over there that's got a plumber's certification. Yeah.
But most of their time will be on the other student housing.
Okay.
And it's really just a manpower issue. Either company would bring in probably teams of 10 or more. to do the work. For our home, it would take probably a 4-year.
how confident are they of meeting the time frame of June 30th on here?
They gave me 100% confidence.
Okay.
I have it in my notes.
However, I was going to say to that point, one of the things that we've also learned from contractors there is to plan for the worst and expect the best. So all of West Hall will not be used this summer. We will be shutting down all of West Hall through July 30th, just to account for any deviance that may occur.
I was just gonna add per state statute, because the project is over $100,000, we are required the contractor is required to provide a performance bond. So in the event that they don't perform, we have that. protection.
Dr. Ruda, I appreciate the penalty clause and for they don't get it done on time. But my question is the tax,
Mhm.
is that on the service? Why aren't we taxed?
It's because it's an auxiliary enterprises, auxiliary fund. So any projects that, and they're considered self-sustaining. Any projects that involve the bookstore, food service, residential life, have to pay sales tax.
Any further discussion? And I'd entertain a motion to approve the authorization to accept the proposal
I move that we authorize Central Consolidated, for their bid of $173,993.15 to replace the West Hall plumbing.
Got a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
I,
Opposed by the same sign. Motion carried. That gets us down to confirmation of monitoring reports. General executive constraints. Anybody have anything they need to add to this or change?
so this is the part of the review of the language is what we're doing, and general executive constraints number 2 is what we're looking at. I don't have any recommendations for changes.
I don't either.
Do we have to vote on this?
No,
No. And
Okay,
then the next one's number 10, the president shall not fail to ensure a safe and healthy environment on campus. We just revised that within the last couple of years, and I don't have any new information of. I think he's done well with the monitoring reports on.
I would just remind you, we asked Dr. Ruda to provide more information about injuries on campus, and he's done a really good job of that. So the wording of the expectation, I think, should stay the same.
Yeah.
are we on the next, the board job description?
Correct.
Number 6, the board shall monitor the outcomes and professional conduct of organizations. Yeah, that's why now we're reviewing the policy, if there's any changes we need to do on the policy.
Anybody got any suggestions?
So I thought about, we monitor this indicator twice a year. And I thought, well, maybe it was time to drop it to an annual indicator. But my other thought on the other side of that is that we've had good reports for the last 2 years, maybe because of the board presence at BAA and the endowment. So my thoughts came around back full circle, just to leave it as is. But Shanda or Dave, you guys have different thoughts about that.
I believe the twice a year keeps us on track and keeps them on track too. We talk about audit things and
It keeps
Is it-
from having such a lengthy report all at once too, and things that get forgotten after 11 months are less likely to get forgotten after 5, so.
Yeah.
So I'm good with maintaining.
Isn't broke, don't fix it.
right.
What else is there on this? Nothing?
That's the 3 for review tonight.
Well, moving right along. Do we have any public comments? None? Well, then we go to the president's report.
All right, several items to highlight. At the last all-employee meeting here in April, we did recognize several employees for both the League of Excellence Awards, which award outstanding faculty and staff who have made significant difference in the lives of students and the communities and their colleges that they serve. This particular award this year, these are peer nominated awards, so peers and colleagues nominate individuals for this, and then their names are sent in to the national organizations. For the League of Excellence, we had Veronica Goosey, who's our Associate Professor of English and Faculty Senate President, Allie Griffin, our Head Athletic Trainer, and Shelley Lolliker, Associate Professor of Science, and Sydney Sassaman, our Director of Advising, that were recognized for the League of Excellence Awards. They received a plaque and certificate, as well as certifications that came from that national organization. And then we also recognize the NISOD Excellence Awards. This is from the National Institute of Staff and Organizational Development, again, for individuals who have demonstrated outstanding commitment and contribution to students and their colleges. These are again peer nominated. And we recognize Lachelle Greathouse, Professor of Business, and Allie Griffin, Head Athletic Trainer, for this award there as well. So congratulations to those employees and their outstanding work. Did have a couple of end of season golf honors for the women's golf. And I'm going to butcher this name here, so I apologize in advance, but congratulations to Conchana for earning first team all conference. And then Daniela Ramos Marquez for earning second team all conference for women's golf. Would remind you there that we will be hosting the women's national tournament here May 9th through 12th out of Buffalo Dunes. So just a shameless plug, we are still looking for individuals to help. So if you want to go out and help, contact Mike Pilasoff and he will put you to work. But that'll be the national women's golf tournament there this year. Also want to give recognition to our two students who received the PTK All Kansas Academic Team. Last week, Colin and I, along with Beth, traveled to Junction City and recognized Keaton Harden and Nicole Ruda for being recognized to the All Kansas Academic Team. So congratulations to both those students, and would also just like to thank both Winsome Lamb and Tammy Hutchison just for their work and leadership and advising Phi Theta Kappa there as well. Over this weekend, we received notice that our college quiz bowl team has been crowned state champions. And so this is the third time in 5 years that the Quizzards have earned the state championship. So congratulations to the students and the coaches there on that achievement there as well. Would also like just to thank the Endowment Association, the board, and Barb Wells for putting on a great auction on Friday night. That was a good turnout. Just a great night for raising money for student scholarships there. So appreciation all around on that end. And then lastly, just hot off the press here today is a notice there that one of our students, Alexis Heckel, has been selected as one of 7 recipients for the 2023-24 Noyce Teacher Leader Scholarship. And this is a competitive scholarship program at Fort Hays State University that offers a renewable annual scholarship of $14,591 to students who are preparing to become a science or math teacher. So tremendous accomplishment on that end, and wanted to highlight the work being done there by STEM and our math and science teachers there to prepare them to be eligible for these types of scholarships. So that is all I have.
Incidental information. Anything in that? You can read, can't you? Yeah. We have no report from Finney County Economic Development. Is that correct?
That's great. No report.
You're on, Beth.
Hey, get ready. So, as Ryan mentioned, Colin and Ryan, they took good care of me, made sure I got there and got home. And I copied a few things. First of all, we went to the Phi Theta Kappa award ceremonies, and then usually, well, it did happen without me. The KACCT meets after the meeting, but we had to rush home for the auction. So Jody takes really good care of me, and that's needed. She put together a book of the KACCT meeting and the things that were happening there. And so what I did, I took, I put together a little packet for you. I didn't do it all. The first page, I believe you all have it. We all have it. I put together the Honor Society program so that you could see it. Ryan mentioned our 2 students. And if you would like to see the whole program, it's in this book. and their pictures. We had a great time, and I have to tell on our president and our vice president of student affairs that all the way there, they kept telling Nicole things she would have to know about the college. Because when she would get up on the stage to receive the ribbon and the certificate, she would have to know things about the college. Every time they would mention something to her, she would look over at me and I'd go. So, but she led them on as much, but we did have a good time. We were very proud of our students. Caitlin's parents came all the way from Louisiana, and Ryan came all the way from Garden City for our two students. So there is a copy of the program. The other things I just listed I gave you some copies of things that I didn't hear, but Heather had put them in our book that she made presentations to the Technical Education Authority Board and the Board of Regents. I tell you, without her, we would be sunk. If something comes up, she's the one they call. And for example, on the Promise Act, right away, the Board of Regents schools said, hey, we want part of that. They don't have the technical programs that the Promise Act covers. And so on the second page, I put in the menu of things that were happening. Then I copied a few things about legislating past things that had passed for the Kansas Promise Act. For your information, put you a copy of Heather's presentation on House Bill 2132, the Promise Act clarifications. Put in a piece on testimony on Senate Bill 48 that this does three things that allows both the community colleges and technical colleges to have a direct appointment on the TEA, Technical Education Authority, rather than the recommendations to KBOR, who should be appointed, and KBOR automatically appointed our representatives. So I thought that might be kind of interesting for you to look at. It was interesting when Heather was here, she had me sign this letter, and it was my testimony on Senate Bill 48. There were Arlen Leiker had a letter for testimony. Arlen is at Colby. He's the president of KACCT. Mike Johnson from Barton County is the board chair at Barton. David Marshall from Hutchinson. He's the KACCT treasurer. Donald Ash from Kansas City Community College. He's the KACCT vice chair. Nancy Ingram from Johnson County is past chair. I'm not sure why I was included. Anyway, I made you a copy of the letter she wrote for me and I signed it. Anyway, so, and if you'd like to see the rest of them, I have them in here. And then I also gave you a copy of her testimony on the Senate Bill 102, which made the issues different in the residency requirements for out of state and how it's counted for technical schools and how it's counted for community colleges. I have a whole book of everything else that you want to read, and I'll even make you copies. But I thought that kind of gave you the highlights, and it's hard to report on a meeting when you weren't there. The next thing, I did sit in on the Western Regional meeting for ACCT, and it was a Zoom conference on Wednesday, April 12th. And I have some information on that if you'd like to look at it. I think that's it for now. Oh, our next meeting, and you can see it down at the bottom. The next meeting is June 2nd and 3rd at Dodge City Community College. Any questions? And here is the book that Jody kept me organized on. So if you want to see the Phi Theta Kappa pictures, anything, it's in there.
We got any questions for Beth? Moving along, we'll go to ownership linkage. Anybody got anything to report on ownership linkage?
I do. I want to say special congratulations to Barb Wells for directing successful endowment auction, especially considering the circumstances in the past few weeks. Also to Kylie Slavin for, as President Ruda said, for the all-around championship. And to Michelle Greathouse and Allie Griffin, Veronica Guzzi, Allie Griffin, Kelly Laughter, and Sydney Sassman for the League of Excellent Award winners and the Nice Out Award. This again goes shows what type of faculty we have and employees under the leadership of Dr. Ruda. I also attended the Robotics Advisory Board meeting on April 14th. 6 entities are attending. Discussions was on the courses available in the course path for the degree and certificate programs. There's extensive talks on what the college could offer our partners. Empirical, Sunflower, DFA, and also someone from Wichita State, I believe, is on the Zoom call. That's all.
I attended the Cosmetology Advisory Committee, and that was March 27th. There was only one other business owner there at the meeting, so we didn't have very much ownership linkage, but heard the presentation from the college faculty and enjoyed their discussions about how they're doing their program and changing some of their things. So they are really working on trying to involve more business in their advisory committee and struggling with it. So
You got some?
I have something that I'd like to share with you, and I'll make it brief, but it was in the Topeka Capital Journal. Gene Cady was a member of our basketball team, and I think he played football too. Gene was his sophomore year at Garden City Community College, and it was Garden City Junior College then. He was president of the Student Government Association, and I was the secretary. So we had some fun meetings, but I wanted to read just a minute, excuse me, a little bit of this to you. Gene Cady will best be remembered for winning over 500 games in 25 years as Purdue's men basketball coach, but it all started in his native Kansas. He was just named to the Naismith Hall of Fame. Cady, who won 879 games in his distinguished coaching career, was one of 12 inductees named in the 2023 class of the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame. Induction ceremony will take place on August 12th in Springfield, Massachusetts. So it's coming. Cady, 86, was born in Larned and achieved success both as an athlete and coach in Kansas before moving on to the Division I level in the 1970s. He began his career as boys basketball coach at Beloit High School, compiling a 142-47 record from 1959 to 65. And that would have been right after he graduated with his baccalaureate degree, and spent one season as an assistant at Hutchinson Community College before taking over as the Blue Dragons head coach from 1966 to 74. Cady's 187-51 record at Hutch included 6 Jayhawk conference titles and national runner-up finish in the 1973 NJCAA tournament. In 1975, he joined Eddie Sutton's Arkansas staff as an assistant. Then in 1978, he got his first D1 head coaching position at Western Kentucky. After going 38-19 in 2 seasons at Western Kentucky, Cady moved on to Purdue, where he became the winningest coach in school history with a, I don't know what that is, 51-22-70 record from 1980 to 2005. He was named Big Ten Coach of the Year 7 times and led the Boilermakers to 6 conference titles and 18 NCAA tournament appearances. Under Katie, Purdue reached the NCAA Elite 8 twice and the Sweet 16 5 times. After retiring from Purdue following a 2004-05 season, Katie spent 1 season as an NBA assistant with the Toronto Raptors and also served as an assistant coach at St. John's from 2010 to 15. Here's the best part. Katie also was a standout athlete growing up in Kansas. He was a 4-sport athlete at Garden City Community College, receiving All-America honors as a quarterback for the football team. He transferred to K-State where he lettered in football, baseball, and track from 56 to 58. In 1958, he was selected in the 19th round of the NFL draft by the Pittsburgh Steelers, but never played professionally. The Naismith Hall of Fame is not the first for Katie, who was inducted into the College Basketball Hall of Fame in 2013, the NJCAA Hall of Fame in 1990, the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame in 2001, the Kansas Sports Hall of Fame in 2007, and the Purdue Athletic Hall of Fame in 2010. As I mentioned, probably the best thing he did was he was the president of our SGA. No, I just thought that you all would like to know that he was a good guy, or is.
I attended the advisory board for John Deere and Ag. I learned quite a bit at the John Deere board. I found out what is going in north of the exercise facility over there. A lot of the discussion there centered around what dealerships can do to make John Deere program a little bit better. It's a great program. The Ag, I really didn't contribute a lot, or I didn't learn a lot from that one. But anybody else got anything? I'm hearing a lot of positive comments at the coffee shops about Garden City and the direction we're going. Big item is the fact that I guess they're just now learning that we're off probation. And so anyway, I'm hearing a lot of comments that are positive for the college and people liking it. I visit with a lot of the parents that come in for baseball and stuff, and the one parent, I can't remember their son's name, he's the pitcher, but they said, we have absolutely no problems at Garden City Community College. They like everything they see and get here. Moving right along, upcoming dates, i.e. there is no breakfast in the morning at Clarion. 21st Hall of Fame ceremony, 25th Athletic Awards, chamber breakfast on the 25th. You can read down through those, but we got graduation coming up May 5th.
Mr. Chairman, it's also May 4th, the DPS awards will be here in the endowment.
Okay.
5:30 or 6, I'm not sure which.
What is it?
The DPS
DPS
award.
awards
Oh,
ceremony.
That's.
We do have several tickets for the Real Men, Real Leaders banquet that we'll be hosting here on campus over in the DPAC gymnasium. So if you would like a ticket for their awards assembly, just let Jody or I know and we can get those tickets to you.
Also might direct y'all to May 20th legislative coffee. If you haven't been to one of these, it gets pretty interesting, but you learn an awful lot. Of course, Memorial Day is the 29th of May. Advisory boards, IMM, April 19th. That's tomorrow. Bob. Nursing, April 20. And Allied Health on April 27. Carpentry, computer science, May 4, and welding on May 11. Next thing on the agenda is a STEM building tour. Is there anything else that we need to discuss while we're in session here?
May just suspend the meeting here and then we can resume over at the STEM building and adjourn from there.
Do now, just extend the meeting to the STEM.
Yeah, we'll just suspend here and meet up over there.
That'd be fine.
We can just, yeah, we'll take our stuff and we can just adjourn from there if that's okay.
All right. We'll see you at the STEM building.
Well, don't be lollygagging, not waiting a half hour on you, Leonard.
What are you laughing at, Mark?
This is your time, Gavin.
Yep, yep. Need help picking this stuff up?
Oh, do you have your evaluation sheets that you want to fill out? I'll pick them up over at the STEM building or here right now. It shouldn't take long. I already got two. Thank you, dear.